Hey everybody, it's Stephanie with The Learning Project. You guys, I'm so excited about our podcast today. You know, I have been going out into my community in Spokane, Washington, interviewing different people in the BIPOC community that are doing amazing things. I think one of the reasons why this project has been really a passion of mine, one, I love people, you guys know that. Two, I want to know what we can do to connect with each other and help build each other up and build our businesses up and really understand the resources that are in our community. So without further ado, you guys, I want to introduce Miss Carmen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you are here.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm so excited to get into this conversation with you and just to be present in the space with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Carmen, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I moved to Spokane about 21 years ago. With me came 5 children. I have children all born within a 10-year span, 5 kiddos, approximately 2 years apart. And this is where they were raised. Now they're adults. The youngest is 26, the oldest is 36, and I have 11 grandbabies.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yeah. So it's just such a, beautiful opportunity. When I looked at what my community was needing, I thought about what I needed in the past. That brought me to creating or co-creating this, the Health and Justice Recovery Alliance, originally named the Peer Navigator Training Program. I brought a team together that was individuals that worked within the justice system. I had an attorney. I had someone who works with the public defender's office. And I had a writer, and I had myself and one other individual with lived experience. And by lived experience, I mean, her and I had both navigated the child welfare system. I had navigated the juvenile justice system, the adult justice system. I had been homeless. I'd been homeless on the street with 5 children, panhandling on the street corner just to be able to feed them. Part of my story is my deep struggle with addiction, coming out of the child welfare system at 17 and pregnant and already addicted. And then, having no place to go, being so disconnected from my family of origin, and having experienced so much trauma, 13 placements over those years, and but mostly just on the streets, and you can imagine what it's like on the streets for a child between the ages of 12 and 17. That was my my home base, so there was a lot of exploitation, significant trauma. So when we looked at, in designing what we wanted to do to support our community, we looked at who are the people that are not getting services, the ones that are screened out instead of screened in. And we knew it was the Black, Indigenous, the Latinx, the non-English speakers, those who didn't fit within the ideal service provider model, and those that oftentimes were, suffering in silence. Part of my history is, experiencing extreme postpartum depression and psychosis after I had my third and my 4th child, and being so fearful about who do I tell, who do I talk to, who is a safe person for me. And when I tried to explain it to my doctor, I tried to explain it to my mom, and nothing, no support at all. And it got so bad that I couldn't be alone with my children. My husband would take the kids over to my mom's house as he went to work in the morning. He would bring them back in the evening time. I could not shower my children or bathe my children. I couldn't have any pillows or knives or scissors. I was so inundated with these horrific, intrusive thoughts about, fear that I might harm my children.
Oh,
And I think about that internal suffering that people go through, especially after something so significant as a pregnancy, when your
yeah.
hormones are all
Yeah.
changing, and you don't know, you think you're going crazy,
Yep.
society tells you you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
At one point after I had Jasmine, I went to I was admitted to the psychiatric ward for a few days, and I'm trying to tell the doctor what I'm experiencing. Like, I'm afraid,
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, it's not a desire. I love my children. And, the cumulative point came at, I was talking on the phone to my mother, and back then in those days they had the nice little rubber thing,
Yep.
the
Yep. The
swirling.
cord. Yep. Yep.
I had my newborn here on my chest. I had my toddler sleeping, napping, and then my son laying on a blanket on the floor. And I had this vision. If I, when my mother hung up, like, if I moved, I was going to hurt my child. And so I just died. I literally just looked over this way and I dialed 911 and I said, help. I'm frozen. I cannot move. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt my children, and they, came over, they brought a mental health person. And because I had reached out for help, thank God, but most people can't do that.
No.
They didn't take my children, thank God, but they started bringing services into my house,
Yeah.
a support person, somebody to, like, a therapeutic process, and then I began to feel safe, that
Yes.
I'm okay, my children are okay. I'm a safe person to be with, but it took that long, that many years, like 2 years of suffering between, my third birth and my fourth birth, to where I just lived in that fear. And, that created anxiety and, stuff that I still, residual anxiety from so many years ago.
Yeah.
And, I thought about that aloneness, and then, coupled with, a domestic violence relationship, not having, family support, having that complex childhood trauma. I designed myself, and mostly my colleague, Angel Tomio Sam, and she's a former student of mine. I just love this woman. She's brilliant. We looked at, what did we need in those moments of trauma and crisis, and we designed the program based upon that. And since it was funding through the MacArthur Foundation Safety Justice Challenge, we knew that we could build a robust program. But then, of course, COVID hits. We went through some challenges with staffing challenges, and trying to figure out how do we deliver, this model of care, but in a virtual format. Unfortunately, the person that our director of services / peer, certified peer, Connor Murphy, he was able to take it online. And it's such when you think about harm reduction and trauma informed, this is the place it is, right? Because people can join, they have their kiddos with them. We make sure that they have, internet, computers. We give them a stipend for $200 a month. If they need diapers or, hygiene or food, we deliver it to their door. And they go through this 12-week cohort. And after the foundational part of it, which is like, we're addressing, where are you at in your recovery? If you deal with substance use disorder, if you have mental health issues, we're going to support you as you, get connected to services and whatever you need in whatever, culturally responsive manner that you need, because you are a unique individual and we're not going to force you into one size fits all. We've been able to support moms who were in transition, whose children had been removed from the child welfare system. And, the system with this expectation that, mom can pay like $60 some a week to visit her kids 3 times a week at a supervised visitation center. And that's not financially possible for somebody who is on a fixed income. So, we, if we didn't have the funding ourselves to do that, we would reach out to our community and do a call in for mutual care, And so the community has been very, very supporting of this. And now, as we're expanding out, we have a contract with DCYF to do the Strengthening Families network. It's amazing. I'm so glad that you're connected with that work. We're going to be building out a child abuse prevention plan. And we're not looking at the family as a contributor, right? We're looking at the environmental influences that are creating family crises.
Yes.
Yes, and so excited about.
I have to stop you really quick, Carmen, because this is so good, y'all. If you're not watching the video, I am over here just like moving everywhere because everything that you're talking about is so crucial to people getting to that next step. Like, we've been in a traditional box of like, this is mental health, this is how you get help, this is how you get care. And granted, there's a lot of people that is worked for, but the thing about a peer support person, so for those that don't know what a peer support person is, it's an individual that has that lived experience. It's something like that no one else can describe. Like, it's like being a woman, you know what I mean? It's like, there are certain things that you can't describe that are just something that you go through and another woman can connect with. Even though all women, we have all different experiences, but there's certain things that we can connect with that are very shared sacred spaces. And so, having somebody that has gone through what you've gone through before and really understand you on that level, and in connection with counseling and mental health services, there is a higher success rate. There's a really cool, for those that like to read, I always like to throw in some articles, resources. There is an article that is done by Harvard University, and it's called Peer Black Supports: A Role in Mental Health Recovery. And they have found that within the Black community, there is a connection with peer support and mental health. And we've missed this for so long. For those that listen to music and know a little bit about Lizzo, she's a singer, and she has this part in her song that says, press, wash, curl, get you out of my hair. I don't know how it goes, but it goes something like that. But she's talking about getting her hair washed at the hair salon and being there at the hair salon. For a lot of us that go to the hair salon, that is very therapeutic. It's like our counseling, you know, it's a very communal place. It's been a communal thing from decades past history, all the way back to our roots. You will find that hair and community has been a very important thing, even when it comes to childbirth. When somebody has a baby, having that community there with you and being able to walk you through this and being there for the individual. And so peer supports are very powerful. So everything that you're talking about, Carmen, is essential. I mean, this is what most people need, and they don't even know this term. They don't even know that this is an option. They don't even know that this is a resource that they can reach out to in conjunction to the mental health piece and the counseling and medication that they may need to take. This is a real taboo within the BIPOC community. I can speak specifically for the Black community because both of us come from the Black community. And we have in our Black community where people don't want to get help. They, what happens at home stays at home. So you suffer in silence. That is a key point in what you just said, Carmen, which is so many people are suffering in silence because we feel like we have to be strong. We have to have this space. We have to have this, and we have to do this. You don't have to do anything. Okay. What you are there to do is to take care of yourself and be okay with the different types of treatment. But also we need to recognize that there are different options out there for individuals. And some people who have lots of lived experiences, they want to give back, they want to reach out, they want to connect with people, and they don't even know that this is an opportunity for them to be a part of the change that we need to see within our community. So I'm loving everything that you're talking about, Carmen. When you were talking about your past and you were like, you know what, there are things that I needed that I just didn't get. What are you seeing in the Spokane community where people are saying, you know what, I need this, and it's non-existent?
That's such a great question, Stephanie. I think about, how families now are in crises, and because of COVID, because of financial issues, because of, the stress of potentially losing housing because rent has gone up like 70%. The economic disparities that are created by wage gaps, and very few people are talking about that, but we're working so hard to build up something for our families, But if it's the external world, the society that exists outside of us that has created those barriers from us to being able to rise, we have to address those. We have to address systemic racism. So that one of the most pervasive things that I see within our systems here in Spokane is that we fail at every level. Not we, our community, the systems fail us at every level, at every touch point. Within the school system, our children are being expelled, they're being harmed. Like, it's a violent system, they're being funneled into either the child welfare system or, the school to prison pipeline. We want better for them. When society, white society, talks about our youth, our Black and brown youth, they want to identify them as gang affiliated. Not all of our children are gang affiliated. Like, right. I don't think that there's any, disparities that would, or any data that would suggest that, but that's their perceived, experience, which is rooted in the social construct of race, right? Let's identify a man that is inferior so that we can enslave them, and let's create a patrol, AE law enforcement, that is going to keep him in his place. And now, so many years later, it's still happening. They have diminished the quality of life of Black and brown individuals simply because of a social construct that was created by white supremacy for white people to maintain power and superiority, and that's it. And now, like, the Black Lives Matter movement and all these movements that are seeking to, elevate and provide visibility about what is happening to our Black and brown communities and stuff. But they want to, media and, other law enforcement and the power structure wants to see that that's not a Black existence. They don't want to see it for what it is, a Black existence movement. They want to see it as an anti-law enforcement, and it has nothing to do with that. We're just saying, see us for our humanity, So that is, again, each point in the systems, whether it's the educational system, justice system, healthcare system, we are being disproportionately harmed.
Absolutely. And this is the thing that's so hard about this conversation. I literally was talking to somebody about this. You guys, I like to share a lot of my little conversations and things like that. One of the things that's really hard is you have people that are not from the BIPOC community, white people, and they're saying, I didn't do this. This is something that's happened in the past. This is ancestral. This has nothing to do with me, right? And then there are some people that are like, well, this may have not happened, or you yourself may have not done this, but there's structures in place that have really messed up our society. Let's just take everything out. Let's just think about this in a big, broad spectrum, you guys. There's so many people that have biases. Everyone has biases. Everyone has these different social contracts that have basically infiltrated our mind. And this is the reason why we're having these conversations with the BIPOC community in Spokane. I continue to say it, which is there's so many times where other BIPOC people don't want to work with each other because of competition, because they feel like one person may be better than another, or there can only be one person of color in this vicinity. They have to be the person that is looked at as the number one star, or this person can't be a part of this. We have a lot of those pieces within our community until we're able to say, you know what, let's actually talk about this in a raw way, in an open way. We're never going to get through this. And so, we can put a lot of the responsibility on white people, but the Black people within our community, we have a lot of work to do. We've got to learn to network with one another. And I think someone said to me, which was really true, and they had said something, actually it was a video. It was a video that was sent to me, and it was saying that it's not that Black people don't want to work together or don't know how to create things. It's we've never really had the space to be like, let's connect, let's work together, let's build together, and let's support one another. It's been very competitive from all the way back to slavery, which is, who's the best slave, who's this, who's that. And those pieces are generational and they transfer down from generation to generation. But we've got to have these conversations. And I'm glad you're bringing this up, Carmen, because when we're talking about peer supports or we're talking about your organization, you have somebody that really understands what you have gone through. And that success rate is crucial to that peer support that's helping that person go through that. So in this study, it was actually really interesting. It said it estimated that only 22% of Black Americans, fewer than 1/4, need mental health care, actually receive treatment. So I'm like, if you have this large group of people that actually need mental health, need help, need assistance, and they don't get it because they don't feel like it's for them, or it fits them, or it fits their narrative, or it fits the way that their culture operates, they're missing out on that opportunity to heal and really see some change in themselves and others around them.
Yeah, and how that change impacts generation after generation, right? And just to speak on, this idea that white leadership gets to identify titles for Black individuals, right? We're all socialized into colonization, right? Into white supremacy. And what has been something that has been very visible in Spokane is that lateral oppression exists, and, everybody is fighting because we're all coming from a space of trauma, and scarcity, and so white proximity is almost like, okay, we've become now, and so we adopt or assimilate into white culture, their beliefs, their ideology, and then it becomes very, very oppressive on the rest of the people, our people. And I get it, it's a survival mechanism, but I'm calling liberate yourselves, and it takes so much work, right? It takes so much. First, we got to identify that we need to liberate, and shake off those shackles, quit allowing, white supremacy to put you up on that slave block, and parade you around as that, like, this is my one Black friend, or this is my, Black board member, or this is my, one Black employee. The governor said, diversify all communities. We got the nonprofit industrial complex that is white-led, white-serving, and fails to incorporate Black and brown bodies into their workforce. And they can't even serve those communities either, unless they're doing it with a white savior complex. Like, let me tell you what you need. We don't want any more. You've been telling us what we need for years. We know what we need. Give us the funding and allow us to build our own programs, and we need to step into that power,
Okay, This is a deep conversation. This is not for anybody who's wearing their feelings on their sleeves this morning, this afternoon, or night, whatever time you were watching this podcast.
Yeah.
We're having a real conversation that needs to be had. And you know what's so sad, Carmen? So many people don't want to have the conversation because they know that they will be excommunicated from the community, or they will be left out of opportunities, or they're left out of the conversations, or they're left out of a job opportunity. And so people get very scared to have the conversation versus saying, okay, you know what? Let's all get in this thing, right? Everybody's got to get in this conversation. Everybody has to understand the pieces of the systems that surround us, that operate every single day, that need to be addressed. You know, it's so many opportunities for us as individuals to create and to change things in our community. But if we don't speak up, and if we don't talk with each other, and if we don't pour into one another, we will not have the change we want to see. We're going to continue to have the same conversation decade after decade, year after year. We're going to see the same thing. And that is it's a really hard pill to swallow, you know, but we've got to get to the point where we say it's okay for us to have these conversations and understand that there are certain social constructs and systems that are dictating how we move and what we talk about, how we talk about it, and how we make change. And, you know, it comes down to a lot of people are like, I'm about my money and I'm not letting anything mess up my money. But at the end of the day, we've got to ask ourselves, are we elevating each other? Are we helping one another? Are we making a difference and change in our community? We can't talk about it. We got to be about it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that is so, so true. And when I think about like the money, like, you know, sometimes, you know, with what, you know, white industry throws to us, you know, it's a mere pittance of what we can get, right? You know, they may be raking in millions and millions of dollars and might want to give us, you know, $300,000, you know, no, you know, we can become the distributor of the funds. We don't need white industry to tell us to be our gatekeeper, you know, and tell us, here, you deserve this, or, you know, we're going to like, let us come for the whole pie, you know, and that is, I think that more than anything scares white supremacy, right? Because they have never had to share power. They don't know how to share power, but we can teach them, right? You know, and you know, I mean, it's just so significant. You know, we got to put ourselves in places in which we're the decision makers of where the funding is going. And once we're doing that, get that funding out into the Black and Brown communities, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to interject here too. You know, when we're talking about this, we talked about, we've heard this conversation many times where there's like a lot of Black women or Black men or BIPOC people don't feel heard in the boardroom, right? They don't feel heard in their space, and their decisions and their conversations are not heard. And that is a real thing. And we have to, exactly what you're talking about, Carmen, is being in a place where we can make decisions together as a community and really make change. But we can't do that until we actually recognize one another and we can actually say hello to one another. And, you know, we can look at each other and see the beauty and differences of each other. You know, when we look at somebody that might be a little bit more radical than a more conservative Black person, that's not a place for you to shun that person. That's a place for you to say, you know what, that's my sister, that's my brother, that's who they are. And I have a different viewpoint, but we can still work together collaboratively to make changes and make differences, because we all have spaces for each other, but we've got to see the beauty of each other. I just went to Manitoba Park, and there's so many different flowers out there, and they're all beautiful in their own right. And some of them them are tall, some of them are short, some of them are prickly, some of them are like letting off all kind of pollen. Some of them are very contained. You know, that's kind of the way I look at our community. We're all different. We all bring something to to this beautiful scenery, but we've got to see the beauty in us. We have to see the beauty in what we bring and how we bring it, and not ask each other to adjust and say, you have to bring it the way I bring it. Your queendom is not going to be my queendom, but you know what? We are all beautiful queens, and we all bring something to the kingdom. So let's shine together as a community. But again, we've got to get to the point where we can even just have the conversation about how do we support one another. Carmen, what do you hope to see like in the future with your business and how it is represented in our community and how it connects with people?
Yeah, first, I just want to acknowledge what you were saying about, the beauty in all of us and stuff, because back in the day, like I'm 54, you pass, you walk past a Black person and you nod, like there's this like, hey, I recognize you. I may not know you. I may have never seen you before, but I recognize me in you and the shared struggle that we have experienced. And now we are able to liberate ourselves from. And I see that for our community. I see that where there has been such divisiveness, I see the possibilities of coming together and how powerful that will be and how healing that will be for our people. And for my organization, I'm so excited. We're getting ready to move into this new phase where we're going to have a building. We previously, prior to COVID, we're partnered with the Zone Project. I'm looking at, having a space where we can have childcare, classrooms, office space, a yoga studio, a commercial kitchen, and maybe even a shop. I've talked to my brother, Curtis Hampton. He's working with some, people that do construction training. I want to bring the construction trade because, college isn't for everyone. I studied as a welder and a cement mason. I'm like, somebody said, hey, come on, be a cement mason. I'm like, I'm not carrying under using that jacket. That's not me. It messed up my hair. So, like, I want to see like, non-traditional roles and stuff, that we can come up in so many different kinds of ways. I'm bringing my daughters into it. They're just getting through the peer training right now. Both of them just brilliant young women who understand child development, have lived through the trauma of having a drug addicted mom, of having, multiple placements in the child welfare system, reuniting with a parent, experiencing loss, part of my story is I lost my son to suicide last year, that I want to support those communities that are hurting, and you talk about like how in the Black community, we've reframed what mental health is, going into that hairdresser, sitting with that friend, releasing that trauma, that pain, or, whatever we are experiencing, but being able to talk about it is no longer taboo. We don't have to keep it in, we put it down in the pressure cooker, and we're boiling over, we're tired, we're injured, and we have to face that every day. And so, connecting with that trusted person, whether that's, a peer, a brother or a sister, in community, making sure that we have that access. One of the things I'm really excited about through some of my consulting work, we've been being able to support, a long-running, organization in Spokane, to build up what the greatness that they're already doing. Providence Healthcare Systems has come in and, supported them to get, this position filled. And, it'll have like, crisis intervention. But it's also, again, looking at that big picture, but I can't speak too much on that because it's coming out. They're going to be coming out with the PSA very soon. And we will be doing mid-September a town hall, bringing
Wow.
some people together. We're doing it on this virtual space because, hey, we're comfortable with that. We
Mm-hmm.
don't want to bring our babies and our grandbabies out and stuff. This
Mm-hmm.
space is okay. We'll come together when it's good,
Yeah.
break bread together. But
Yeah.
until then, we'll be here in this virtual space. So
Love it.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. Oh man, I'm so excited about hearing people's passions and what they want to do and what they are doing. And I think one of the things that just came to my mind when I was listening to your vision, your dream for your organization is we've got to get to a point where we're not afraid to dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got to we got to stop being afraid of speaking what we want to existence, right?
Yeah.
And I struggle with this a lot, y'all, because I will say one thing and then I'm like, no, maybe I shouldn't do that because I'm not capable of this, or I'm not talented in this way, or I'm not talented in that way. Looking at all the things you can't do versus what you can do is a huge thing. That's going to move your mindset. It's going to move your body. It's going to move your spirit. It's going to help you to make action. It's going to help you be proactive versus deactive. And I love your vision and your dream for our community. And I am just excited to see where this is going to go. And if people are looking to be a peer mentor or want to bring that program to their church or their organization or their business, or maybe they're starting something really small online or big online, where can they find you, Carmen? How can they connect with your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they can call me. You want my number? You want to place it in the chat?
You know what? Honestly, you guys, if you are driving or you're not sure, all her information will be right below.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
do you have? I know you have a website and all of that good stuff.
Yes. Yes. Our website is under the Peer Navigator Training Program. I can be reached through there. You can email me personally. You can call me. You can send me a text. Like I got people texting me all the time. Like, and I want to be responsive and supportive. In the many roles and hats that I wear, I work with people, to fill out grant applications because I knew what it was like for me, as a person who had no idea what she was doing, and built a program backwards, forward, but we did it, so what I learned, I'd love to share, and, not expecting any compensation or accolades, just want to be able to support our community. That's it.
I love it. I love it. You guys, I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. It has really filled my spirit. I don't know who needs to hear this. If you know there's somebody that you can think of that's like, they need to hear this. I need to share this with them. Or I want to take this podcast to my staff meeting and I want us to talk about a part of this podcast. Take it, share it. You guys, let's build onto this conversation. We just got it started. So definitely know that we're going to be coming back with more podcasts about what's going on in the Spokane community, what's happening in our BIPOC community. I'm so excited, y'all. We have a lot of great stuff going on. So without further ado, Carmen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am so excited about you being here, you guys. And until next time, I will see you soon. See you later, guys. Bye. Right. Hi, this is Stephanie. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my podcast segment today. I don't know if you live in the Spokane, Washington area, but we are encouraging everyone that owns a Black-owned business, at least 50%, to register their businesses with the Carl Maxey organization. You do not want to miss this. Check out their page and definitely enroll your organization or business to stay connected with our local community.